Let's keep it simple, Kira said, and tapped the printed script with a manicure you could measure. 2 minutes. Light. No history lesson. I plan to introduce Emma, I said. Daniel's mother. We appreciate that, she said. But we want the focus on the couple. Simple is best. Daniel stared at his shoes. The planner, a slick man named Jace, watched me like I might spill paint on the aisle runner. I inhaled once. Smelled eucalyptus from the floral sample on the coffee table, sharp and sweet. You're asking me not to say my wife's name, I said. Kira smiled. We tuned the program. Trust the vibe. Trust the vibe. I had spent 40 years building kitchens that did not wobble. Vibes did not hold shelves. You want me to read this, I said, holding up the 2 paragraphs. Please, she said. Let's keep it simple. Before we go further, subscribe to Quiet Revenge and tell me where you're listening from. I folded the paper without creasing it. I kept my voice even. All right. Let's see simple. A carpenter knows the weight of every word that bears a load. Oyster Bay was soft that night. A salt wind moved the street trees behind my bungalow. My porch light threw a cone onto the steps where Emma used to set out her herb pots. I still had the labels, handwritten in her block letters, rosemary, thyme, mint. They were taped to a casserole dish in the freezer, like they were guarding it. I put the script on the kitchen table. The table had a burn scar from a pan Daniel dropped when he was 10. He cried like a kettle, and Emma hugged him until the hiss went out. I traced the scar with one finger, then read the script again. It began, Welcome, friends. Love is simple. It ended, Here's to Daniel and Kira. The middle was filler. It left out the storm that raised that boy. It left out the woman who took a second shift so I could start my own shop. It left out the chemo winter and her instructions to me during the last good week. No martyr speeches, she said. But tell the truth. My phone buzzed. Daniel's dad, you okay? I'm reading, I said. I see what they want. It's just the vibe Kira's going for, he said. We don't want it heavy. Your mother is not heavy, I said. I kept my tone steady. She is true. Silence. Then his voice got small. Kira thinks if we open that door, we drown. You don't drown by naming a swimmer, I said. You drown by pretending there is no water. He exhaled. Please, Dad. Tomorrow is the program print. Jace already sent the proof to the shop. We made some cuts for Flo. What cuts? I asked. Some lines about traditions. And Mum. Your mother is a cut now, I said. I watched my hands. I did not clench them. The clock ticked. The casserole in the freezer waited with its label like a witness. Dad, I need you with me, he said. Just this once, keep it simple. The words were in my house now. They settled into the picture frames, into Emma's knitting pattern folded in the drawer, into the seed packets she left in a jar. Simple IA blade disguised as a pillow. Send me the program proof, I said. It's late, he said. Send it, I said, and kept the edge out of my voice by force. He sent it. A link in a note. We show this to Kira's mom at 10 a.m. The proof named parents. On Kira's side, there were 2 full lines of thank yous. On Daniel's side, there was my name. No Emma. No space to breathe. I closed my eyes. 2 minutes of quiet. Then I opened the drawer where I kept practical things. Grocery receipts from the last week. A parcel weight label from a box I had signed for that morning programs, handled by Jace's cousin in the city. I flipped the label over. Delivery scheduled Saturday by noon. A detail. A timetable. The kind of thing that holds or breaks a shelf. I pressed my palm to the table and spoke into the room. Emma, I will not let them erase you, I said, but I will not burn the aisle either. I texted Daniel again. I will be concise. I will also be honest. Thanks, he sent. A relief emoji followed. My jaw tightened at it. I put the script under a magnet on the fridge. I took out a pen and wrote on a sticky note. Simple does not mean erasing. I stuck it above the kettle where steam would touch it in the morning. The florist shop smelled like cold water and green stems. Buckets clinked on the concrete floor as a young worker restocked peonies. The owner, a woman named Tommy, looked up from an order pad. "Morning, Mr. Hale. You're the groom's father," she said. "We've got your boutonnieres." "I'm here about the invoice," I said. She slid a copy across the counter. "Balance settled by Kira's family. Do you need an extra corsage?" I read the line items: bridal bouquet, attendant flowers, table greenery, memorial rose for absent family. A quiet line near the bottom caught my eye: program ribbon kits. "Refundable until program's printed." "Tommy," I said, voice casual. "When do you tie those ribbons?" "After the programs arrive," she said. "We thread them through the spines. Saturday morning, 9, if Jace's courier keeps time. And if the program text changes after that? We don't tie until we have the final text," she said. "If they cut or add pages, we change the ribbon count. It can alter cost." "Why?" I smiled. "I build cabinets. I'm allergic to surprises." She grinned. "A man of measurements. Bless you. Could I get a copy of this invoice?" I asked. "Of course." She printed it and circled the refund window. People forget to read that line. Then they argue with me. Nice to have someone pay attention. "Details carry weight," I said. On the way out, I passed a display of little cards that slid into bouquets. Words like "with love," "in memory." I fingered the edge of one. The ink smelled faintly sweet. The door chimed behind me. The street was bright. Seagulls trailed the fish vans. I put the invoice in my pocket. It lay against the parcel label. 2 pieces of paper. Nothing dramatic. Just proof that time moves in a straight line, even when feelings try to bend it. My phone buzzed again. A message from Kira's mother, Lena. "Coffee at 11? We want to align." I replied. 11 works. My place. I straightened the house before they came, cleared the workbench nook where I kept my chisels honed, wiped the counter, took the labeled casserole out to thaw. The tape read Emma's chicken pie. I set it on a tea towel. The label faced the room like a name badge. At 10:50, a white SUV pulled up. I watched the reflection waver on the window like a fish. Kira walked in first with a bright voice. Lena followed with a larger version of her smile. "Dad," Kira said, kissing my cheek, "we appreciate your flexibility. We're aligning on speeches." "Welcome," I said. "Would you like tea?" "Just a quick chat," Lena said, hands folded. "We want the rehearsal dinner to run on schedule." "Let's keep it simple," Kira said. It slipped out like a breath mint she popped whenever nerves hit. I nodded at the fridge. The script hung under the magnet like a polite hostage. "I will be concise," I said. "I will not be cruel." "Perfect," Lena said. "No heavy history. Guests want to celebrate, not grieve." Daniel arrived halfway through and leaned in the doorway. He looked tired. The plumber's crack in his schedule had widened all week. He worked late, then wedding, then phone calls. "We're all agreed," Kira said. 2 minutes. No mention of past losses. "My wife has a name," I said. "Say it." Kira's smile flickered. "Emma." "Thank you," I said. I did not let the heat ride my words. "I will read your 2 paragraphs. Then I will say 1 sentence that includes her name. That is all." Kira looked to Lena. Lena breathed through her nose. "We really want to keep it simple." "Simple does not mean erasing," I said. The kettle clicked off behind me. The sticky note fluttered. Emma's casserole sat on the counter between us, label visible. Kira saw it. "What's that?" "Dinner for the rehearsal night," I said. "Emma's recipe, for after." "Sweet," Lena said, already moving the conversation along. "We also need to seat you near the back. The photographer says it's easier." I felt the floor shift 1 degree. Back meant out of frame. Back meant nod when spoken to. "I'll sit where you like," I said. "I am here for Daniel." "Thank you," Lena said. Relief showed. "We're aligned." Aligned. I saw what was being built, a stage where I existed as polite furniture, a picture where Emma was a faint suggestion, like a smudge the printer missed. They left with light hugs. Daniel lingered. Dad, he said, I know this hurts. It is not hurt, I said. It is carpentry. A beam taken from a roof will sag a room. You and Kira are a room. Emma is a beam. He shut his eyes. I'll talk to her. You chose her, I said. I reached and squeezed his shoulder. So I will not fight with her. I will hold a line so we can all stand inside it. He nodded, eyes wet. I love you. I love you, son, I said. When the door closed, I laid the florist invoice on the table. I set the parcel label beside it. Then I wrote a sentence on an index card. Without Emma, there is no Daniel. I practiced it once. The words fit my mouth like a tool I knew. At 3, my phone chimed with a new group chat. Hail. Hernandez wedding crew. Kira posted a scheduled graphic with pastel blocks. Jace added emojis. Lena posted a reminder. Everyone keep remarks simple. I typed, will do. Kira tagged me. Martin, please confirm you'll use the script only. I stared at the screen. I imagined Emma reading over my shoulder, tapping my wrist twice the way she did when I wanted to drive a nail too fast. I typed, I will honor your script. I will also include one sentence to name Daniel's mother. 3 dots bubbled from Kira, then stopped, then bubbled again. Lena posted, we decided against that. Daniel posted, Mom is part of my story. Silence. Jace posted a gif of confetti. It was like someone dropping glitter on a spill. I did not respond further. I went to the garage and planed a cedar board for a spice rack I was making for a neighbor. The shavings curled like ribbon and smelled like pencil shavings on Sunday. When my hands worked, my mind steadied. At 5, Daniel texted privately. Thank you for that. Hold your day, I wrote back. I will hold the rest. I put the board aside and pulled the program proof up again. At the bottom, in small print, was the printer's policy. Changes after Friday noon incur rush fees. Saturday deliveries by noon only. I looked at the clock. I looked at the parcel label. It confirmed Saturday noon. Time and money were about to meet. Kira asked me to drop off a family photo for the slideshow. I printed one of Daniel at 7, covered in flour. Emma laughing behind him with her hair in a scarf. I slid it into a simple frame. My fingers shook once, then steadied. Their townhouse smelled like new paint and soy candles. Kira opened the door with a quick peck on my cheek. We're sprinting, she said. Can you leave the photo on the console? Of course, I said. Lena sat at the dining table with a laptop. Jace paced with a headset. Daniel stood by the sink, sleeves rolled, eyes tired. Kira glanced at the frame. Oh, maybe pick one without the kitchen. We have a color story. That's my late wife, I said, in her kitchen with her son. Kira heard the steel. It's a lovely shot, she added quickly. We'll find a spot. Thank you, I said. Jace clicked his headset. Program change approved. We removed the in-memory line to favor unity. Printer will hold a job. Lena nodded. Perfect. We keep it simple. That line was for Emma, I said. We're celebrating love, Lena said, not unkindly. Grief can live in private. I looked at Daniel. He opened his mouth, closed it, then forced a smile that looked like a splinter under skin. May I see the final program? I asked. Jace flipped his screen. The memorial line was gone. The page count dropped by 1. The ribbon order would change, money would shift. Thank you, I said. I set the framed photo on the console. Then I laid 2 grocery receipts beside it. Tiny things I had brought to return a borrowed pie dish tomorrow. The ink showed milk, flour, dime. Quiet inventory. Quiet proof of life. Kira followed my glance. We'll return those dishes on Sunday, she said. Take your time, I said. I have Emma's casserole for tomorrow night. Lena smiled. That will be nice. Jace clapped his hands. Team, we are aligned. Aligned again. A word that meant, in this room, that a piece had been shaved until it fit a space that did not belong to it. I excused myself, stepped out into the courtyard, and breathed. The evening air held a trace of ocean. The neighbor's dog barked twice and gave up. My phone buzzed with a message from Tommy at the florist. Programs confirmed for Saturday. If they change page count, we adjust ribbon count and invoice, as noted. I sent back a thanks. The plan in my head did not require anger. It required the patience of drying glue. At 9, Kira called. Her voice was bright and tired. We're on track. Rehearsal at 4. Dinner at 6. Speeches at 7. Can you come early to review the mic? I can, I said. Great, she said. And Martin, please remember the script. No surprises. Of course, I said. Simple. Exactly, she said. Let's keep it simple. After the call, I drove to the printer's storefront downtown. The clerk recognized the job code when I read it from my notes. Wedding programs. Courier out at 11:45, he said. Do you reprint if the client calls in a new change? I asked. My tone was casual, as if I were asking about paperweight. Only if they pay the rush, he said. Our policy is right there. I read the sign on the counter. There it was again. Changes after Friday noon incur rush fees. I thanked him and left. At the florist, Tommy had the ribbon kit stacked. She showed me the new count on the invoice. The reduction from the removed memorial page had changed the ribbon order by a small amount. A refundable line became billable differently. Numbers made their quiet logic. Do you need anything else, Mr. Hale? She asked. Would you be willing to answer a question at the venue if asked? I said. About what date we tied and why, she said, reading me like a schedule. Yes, I said. She shrugged. I can swing by with the delivery. If anyone tries to argue we messed it up, I'll bring the paperwork. You're a gift, I said. It's just policy, she said. People forget to read. I drove home and ironed a clean shirt. I laid my index card beside the script. I placed the florist invoice in a thin folder with the parcel weight label. I put the folder in my jacket. It did not feel like a weapon. It felt like a level. I stood in the kitchen and said Emma's name once. It steadied me like the smell of cut cedar. The rehearsal was at the Oceanside Hall. The tide was out. The sky was a hard blue with a seam of cloud at the horizon. Inside, chairs faced an arch wrapped in eucalyptus that matched the sample from Kira's living room. The room hummed with small directives. Jace pointed. Lena adjusted place cards. Kira pinched the bridge of her nose and then smiled when anyone looked. Dad, Daniel said, pulling me aside. How are you feeling? Like a man with 2 minutes and 1 sentence, I said. He laughed. Relief colored it. Thank you. Jay strode over with a mic. Let's test your level, he said. Keep it light. Project from the chest. I spoke the first paragraph from the script. The room absorbed it like dry wood soaks oil. Friends and family, love is simple. Nice, Jay said, and cut. May I add 1 sentence? I asked. He glanced at Kira. She nodded, but her smile was thin. I looked at Daniel. He braced. Without Emma, there is no Daniel, I said into the mic. We miss her. We are also here. Silence rolled forward like a wave that does not break your legs. It lifts you. It puts you down somewhere true. Kira blinked. Her jaw worked. She exhaled. That's fine, she said. But please, no more additions. Nothing more, I said. Jace clapped. Perfect. Simple. The word had lost its shine in my ears. It sounded like someone saying less work for me. We walked through the aisle queues. Kira corrected the flower girl twice. Lena recalibrated the order of photos for the slideshow. Daniel and I ended up alone behind the arch with a view of the water. Dad, he said, thank you for that line. It is a beam, I said. A house falls without it. He nodded, eyes wet. He wiped them with the back of his hand. I wish Mum were here. She is, I said. Every nail you drive straight is her. He laughed, then swore softly. Will you be okay at dinner? Yes, I said. I will be simple. I will be exact. He hugged me. His shoulders were wider than mine now. Time had done its quiet carpentry. That was the choice. Not to fight, not to fold. To set one nail where the house needed it, then let the frame stand. My folder lay flat inside my jacket. Not a threat. A measurement. The oceanside hall glowed under string lights. Relatives drifted in like pieces of a puzzle that refused to settle. The rehearsal dinner filled the room with clinked glasses and careful laughter. A server leaned toward me and whispered the menu. Baked salmon, lemon potatoes, a salad that looked like a magazine photo. I found my place card near the back, as promised. Martin Hale. I turned it over and found nothing personal written there. Just the name. I slid my fingers along the edge of the card until I felt the grit from a dull blade. I almost smiled. Even printed perfection has a small burr. Dad, Daniel said, arriving with a plate. Good? Very, I said. I can see the room from here. Speeches start at 7, he said. You're second. Jace tested the mic. Everyone, he called. We'll begin in 5. Keep remarks short. Let's keep it simple. There it was, broadcast. A catchphrase used like a traffic cone. The room quieted. Kira floated forward in a pale dress that photographed well. Lena took her place beside her like a general in a friendly war. I opened the folder in my lap. I checked the florist invoice, the ribbon line circled by Tommy's pen. I touched the parcel label. The weight printed there matched the stack I had seen behind the printer's counter. Dull, ordinary facts. I closed the folder. Ready? Daniel murmured. I am, I said. Kira spoke first. Thank you all for being here, she said. Family means everything to us. We want tonight to be simple and joyful. Lena followed with a smooth story about Kira's childhood lemonade stand and leadership in primary school. People laughed. The room warmed to her. Then Jace called my name. Father of the groom, Martin Hale. I walked to the mic. I carried the script. I laid my index card on top. 2 minutes. 1 sentence. I could do a lot with a single nail if the wood was sound. Friends and family, I began. Love is simple. The first paragraph felt like someone else's jacket. It fit barely, but it wasn't mine. I read it anyway. I shifted to the second paragraph. Here's to Daniel and Kira, who choose each other and choose joy. I looked up. Daniel's eyes found mine. Then I added the line I had measured. Without Emma, there is no Daniel, I said. We miss her. We are also here. The sound moved through the room like a low tide. I heard a chair creak. I heard Lena's breath catch. Kira's mouth pressed thin, but she did not speak. Daniel's shoulders dropped. He nodded once, small and full. I lifted my glass. To love, I said. To love, the room answered. I returned to my seat. My heart climbed down from the rafters and sat back in my chest. Jace moved on. The best man told a brief story about cricket practice. The maid of honor read a poem that included the word forever more than once. The room laughed at the right times. Then a hiccup arrived, small and sharp. The slideshow glitched. A photo froze. The next image loaded wrong. Emma's picture appeared for half a second. Then the screen cut to a stock sunset. The room made a small, sympathetic sound. Jace fiddled with the remote. Technical, he said, smiling. We'll keep it simple. Daniel stared at the screen. His jaw ticked. He looked at Kira. She looked away. When the plates were cleared, Lena took the mic for closing remarks. Thank you for keeping it simple, she said. We begin tomorrow at 3. Please follow the program for cues. The courier arrived at that moment with a flat box. Jace signed without looking. He placed it on the side table with a thunk that sounded heavier than paper should. The parcel weight label faced the room. My seat had the angle to read it. The number matched my note. The delivery timestamp, too. The room did not see it, but I did. And Tommy, slipping in with a bucket of last-minute greenery, saw it also. She caught my eye and gave a small nod. Kira lifted the box lid and drew out a stack of programs bound with green ribbon. Perfect, she said. She handed one to Lena. Lena scanned it like a contract and smiled. The maid of honor reached for a copy. Can I read? After, Kira said. She placed the box behind the head table, out of easy reach. A cousin drifted to my row. Can I see? He whispered. After, Kira said again, without looking, voice sugar over steel. We want to keep it simple. Her words landed this time differently. They did not sit like soft direction. They sat like a lid. Daniel glanced at me from across the room. His eyes asked a question I knew from when he was 6 and had broken a window with a cricket ball. What do I do now? I kept my face calm. I lifted my glass again in a small private motion. We are here. One beam is in. We will set the next one when the roof begs for it. Then Kira's phone pinged. She read a message. Her expression hardened. She whispered to Lena. Lena nodded once. Kira crossed the room to me in a practiced glide. Martin, she said, low, smile bright. Quick word. I stood and followed her to the edge of the stage where the sound of plates covered us. I need you to stick to the exact script tomorrow, she said. No extra sentence. We're hearing feedback that it pulled focus. From whom? I said. From people who care about the mood, she said. Let's not make this about grief. It is about truth, I said. Truth is subjective, she said. Vibe is the guest experience. And now, please, keep it simple. The words were now offense. I agreed to one sentence, I said. I kept it tonight. And we saw how it shifted the energy, she said. Tomorrow, no sentence. We are final. Understood, I said. I looked at Daniel. He was watching. He took a step, then stopped when Lena touched his sleeve. Kira softened her voice. I respect Emma, she said. I just don't want to lose the lightness. You cannot lose lightness by naming the lamp, I said. She blinked at that. Please, Martin, be a team player. I smiled, polite. Of course. She exhaled relief. Thank you, we'll keep it simple. She moved away. I remained. My chest felt like a beam asked to span too far without support. I went to the side table and poured a half glass of water. My hand did not shake. Kira's catchphrase rolled in the air like a small breeze that blows a door closed. Guests laughed again. Someone called for music. The courier left. Tommy threaded through guests with her bucket, then paused near me. All set? She asked, voice casual. All set, I said. She tapped the edge of the program stack with a fingernail. Ribbon count changed, she said, no more than a whisper. Invoice line reflects it. I saw, I said. She drifted away. I returned to my seat. I watched the room move like a machine with polished parts. I watched Daniel wrap Kira in a hug. I watched Lena make a note in her phone. I looked at the box of programs with their tidy green ties. Somewhere in that stack, an absence had been threaded like a design choice. The dark turn was not a shout. It was this, the certainty that if I stayed quiet, Emma would leave the room a second time and no one would notice the door. I slid my folder into my jacket. I picked up my fork. I ate my salmon. When people passed by, I smiled and said their names. I was simple. I was exact. The reversal would not be loud. It would be made of dates and a single sentence, delivered where witnesses could see it and where a beam could take its rightful place without splinters. When the coffee came out, Jace lifted the mic again. Friends, a tiny bit of housekeeping, he said. Programmed are here. Please take one as you leave. Tomorrow will be simple and smooth. Before we wrap, I said, standing. May I borrow 60 seconds for my own small housekeeping note? Kira's smile froze. Lena's fingers stilled on her phone. Daniel watched my face and did not blink. Jace hesitated. The room looked our way. You can say a lot in a minute. You can also rebuild a beam. Go ahead, Martin, he said, trying to keep it cheerful. 60 seconds. I walked to the front with my folder, not rushing. I kept my hands open, not clenched. Thank you, I said into the mic. I want to honor the way we've kept things simple tonight. Simple can be beautiful. A clean line, a steady join. A cousin nodded like I was naming a woodworking trick. The room breathed with me. I lifted the top sheet in my folder. This is the florist invoice, I said. Easy, not legal. There's a small line near the bottom. It says ribbon kits are refundable until the programs are printed. Not interesting on most days. Interesting today. Kira shifted. Jay smiled wider. Lena's eyes sharpened. I held up the invoice so the front tables could see the circled line. Our florist, Tommy, only ties the ribbons after the programs arrive. If the pages change, the ribbon order changes. That is all this is. Tommy stepped forward from the side aisle with her bucket as if we had rehearsed. She lifted a hand. True, she said. We adjust after delivery. It's normal. People turned to look at her, then back to me. Ally, not a hammer. A level. I lifted the second sheet. This is the parcel label from the printer. Today's date. The weight matches the box that arrived a few minutes ago. These are the final programs. Delivery tonight. Jace laughed like a host. We love a prepared father of the groom, he said. Details man. I am, I said, which is why I read the program. I looked at Daniel, not at Kira. I saw one change, a small one. One page they used to say, in memory of Emma Hale. It is gone. That is a choice. People can choose. The room hushed, not angry, listening. I kept my tone even. I agreed to keep my remarks short. I will keep them short now. In my pocket I had planned a sizable gift to help you two star well. But a house needs the right beam in the right place. So here's my simple choice. I set the folder on the table and took out a small bank envelope. I placed it next to the program box, where the ribbon bows lay tidy as green fish. I am redirecting this gift to an emergency fund in your names, Daniel and Kira, I said. We will set it up Monday. It equalizes what was taken out in ink with something put back in life. You can use it for whatever beam fails first. A bill. A repair. A baby seat. I trust you. Murmurs moved like a soft tide. Chairs creaked. No one reached for a joke. I tapped the program box with one finger. And one more thing. This is my one sentence tomorrow. The only extra piece of wood. Without Emma, there is no Daniel. We miss her. We are also here. Jace opened his mouth. Kira lifted a hand to stop him without looking away from me. Her voice, when it came, was too bright. We appreciate your generosity, Martin, but let's keep the program simple, I said, and accurate. Tommy stepped forward again, a quiet witness. If you want a memorial line back, I can add a single stent tomorrow at the arch, she said. No charge. I have it in the cooler. You can place it. It takes 10 seconds. Lena finally spoke. We have a plan, she said. We are aligned. Daniel took a step toward the mic and took it gently from my hand. He did not look at Kira. He looked at the room. I'm the son, he said. I want to say something, and then we can dance. Mom taught me to drive, to stir a sauce, and to tell the truth without punching. I want her name in the room. I want the one line, Dad said. I also want a marriage that makes room for things that hurt and things that help. He turned to Kira. I love you. I need this. Kira's jaw worked. You could see her weighing the picture in her mind against the man standing in front of her. The room did not press. It held. She reached for the mic, thought better, and spoke so all could hear. Fine, she said, voice level. One line tomorrow. We keep it simple. She looked at me. It was not a smile. It was acceptance without sugar. Thank you, Daniel said. He handed the mic back to Jace, then crossed the space in 2 strides and hugged me hard. His breath shook once, then calmed. Lena kept her face smooth, but her knuckles were white. Jace adjusted his headset like he could adjust air. I turned to Tommy. Bring your stem, I said. I'll be there, she said. 5 minutes early. I picked up the bank envelope and pressed it into Daniel's hand. He looked startled. Hold it until Monday, I said. You two asked the bank manager to set the account. Your names, not mine. Kira looked at the envelope. Her eyes softened 1 degree. She did not reach for it. She reached for Daniel's hand. The cousin near the front stood and clapped once. Someone else followed. Then more. Not a roar, a steady acknowledgement. The kind of sound a room makes when a shelf goes back level. Jace raised the mic. Well, he said, swallowing. That was honest. He forced a grin. Let's get dessert. Wait, Kira said. She looked at me. Martin, can we have one of those photos for the program table? The one with the flower on the bench? Yes, I said. It's already framed. She nodded. Bring it tomorrow. Gladly, I said. I returned to my seat. Daniel lingered, head against Kira's for a second. Lena whispered something to Jace that tightened his mouth. Tommy slid me a small card from her bouquet display. It read, In memory. She did not need to say anything. The ink smelled faintly sweet. The public reversal had not been fire. It had been wood, squared and set, a beam back in place. The arch would hold. Morning ran on rails. I woke before the gulls and made coffee. I tucked the framed kitchen photo under my arm. I pressed Emma's casserole into the neighbor's hands with a note. Eat warm. Tell me what needs salt. He grinned and promised to return the dish. At the hall, the air smelled like eucalyptus again. Tommy was there early with a single white rose in a paper sleeve. She nodded to me and pointed with her chin toward the arch. Will you place it? She asked. I will, I said. Kira approached in a robe, hair pinned. Without makeup, she looked younger, less armored. She hugged herself, then let her arms fall. Good morning, she said. Good morning, I said. She looked at the stem. One line, she said. One line, I said. Her eyes went to the framed photo under my arm. Can we set that by the program stack? She asked. Not a shrine. Just a photo. Yes, I said. She swallowed. Thank you for the fund, she said. I didn't expect that. I expected something else. Emma believed in emergency money, I said. It lets you breathe. It's unromantic. It saves fights. Kira nodded. I want this day to be good. It will be, I said. She stood a moment longer. I said some sharp things yesterday, she said. I was trying to juggle a dozen plates. I know, I said. Plates break. Rooms can be rebuilt. She exhaled. Let's keep it simple, she said, almost smiling now, and the line had less edge and more air. Simple and honest. Simple doesn't mean erasing, I said. Right, she said, and walked back toward the dressing room. Tommy handed me the rose. 10 seconds, she said. Place it where you like. I climbed the small step and tucked the stem into the arch wrap. My fingers brushed cool leaves. I said Emma's name once under my breath. The room smelled green and clean. Guests arrived. The box of programs sat at the entrance with the framed kitchen photo standing beside it. People picked up the booklets and glanced at the picture. Some touched the frame as they passed, a little tap like a secret handshake. Lena approached the entrance, saw the photo, and stopped. Her face changed. She did not move it away. She did not touch it. She looked once, long, then moved on. The ceremony started on time. Jace ran things like a train conductor. He did not meet my eyes. The officiant smiled and spoke about the way 2 lives nib better than 1 if the stitches are honest. When it was time for family acknowledgments, Daniel cleared his throat. We remember those who shaped us, he said. Emma Hale among them. No thunder, just a name that stayed in the room like an open window. The vows were true and a little wobbly. The kiss landed. People cheered. Cameras flashed. Even the flower girl got her timing right on the way out. At the reception, Kira tapped a glass and took the mic. Thank you for loving us today, she said. She looked at me. And thank you for reminding us that simple should not erase the people who built the table we eat at. People clapped. She smiled for real. Less performance, more person. Lena came to me by the dessert table. She wore a hard grace like a blazer. Martin, she said, Yesterday was a lot. It was exact, I said. She pressed her lips together. We both want our children to be happy. Yes, I said, and sturdy. She looked at the arch where the single white rose made a quiet punctuation. I did not mean to erase her, she said. I meant to keep the daylight. I misjudged. That happens to the best planners, I said. She laughed once, small. You won the room without cutting it. This is my family, I said. I want us to share chairs, not knives. She nodded. I will try to be less aligned, she said, and the word made both of us smile. Fair, I said. Daniel found me before the first dance. Dad, he said, the fund, the line, the rose. Thank you. Your voice carried the day, I said. I just said a beam. He squeezed my forearm. Kira put the photo where everyone enters, he said. She chose it. She wanted to do that. I saw, I said. Good choice. We'll open the account Monday, he said. We chose a name for it. Not a joke. What name? I asked. He smiled. The Beam. I felt my throat tighten. That will hold. We danced. We ate. We laughed. Kira's father told a story about Daniel helping him fix a cabinet hinge the first week they met. Your boy knows a square, he said to me, raising his glass. He learned it somewhere. When the night ended, I carried the framed kitchen photo back to my car. Kira came out with a small box of leftover ribbons. Do you want these? She asked. They're extra. I'll make a bookmark, I said. She tilted her head. That's sweet. It is practical, I said. Same thing most days. She touched my arm. Simple, she said, and not erasing. Now we're aligned, I said, and we both smiled without any edge. At home, the porch light lit the steps. I set the photo on the hall table. I washed the pie dish and put Emma's label in the drawer with the seed packets. I took a ribbon and slipped it into the kitchen ledger, where I keep repairs I do for neighbors. Then I wrote a line under today's date. One line, set, one beam, true, house, holding.